And we're live. Welcome to King Connections Podcast. I'm your host, King. And today, my guest, I'm honored to be joined by Keith Steincamp. How you doing today, Keith?
I'm doing really great, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure having you be here, and I thank you for your investment of time and energy with joining us today. So one of the things I like to do to get started, kind of set the context for the podcast, is to ask the question, what's your spiritual energy number? What I mean by that question is, being 0 being life sucks, to 10 being life is awesome. Where would you say you fall into that spectrum today?
That is always a good question, and I love that. I would say, right now I'm about a 9. I admit that I cheated a little bit this morning, and I did get my workout in the morning, whereas on a good day I get in a workout, and sometimes it's in the evening, but I got it this morning, so that helps. And so I think I'm doing pretty good right now. Today I think I'll probably go all between a 7 and a 10. So right now I think I'm a 9.
Excellent. My reason for asking that question is when I've given my meetings for my team or when I've given other speaking events, I ask that question because I always want to assess the room's energy. So we got a lot of 2s or 3s. I ask folks to leave because they're not going to be very open-minded. They're going to be adversarial, not be present.
Sure.
When folks are 8, 9s, and 10s, then I know we're going to actually have a great discussion and have infinite possibilities, and maybe magic can be created as well.
I love it.
So thank you for indulging me with that. So as we begin, my first question is, so what do you see as your purpose in life?
I think of it as to initiate positive changes. So whether it's, in my personal life, in relationships, or in business, just every day, if there's some things that I can do to help inspire changes that are good changes, I consider that to be success. And I kind of look at that as my overall life purpose too, to initiate positive changes that are good, or we hope will be good.
Excellent. So how would you define a thought leader?
A thought leader is someone who is speaking out with the thoughts that they are finding to be transformative or helpful. They don't have to be revolutionary, magic, home run thoughts all the time, but just thoughts that are making it better for people. I think of helping people as if we can be one step ahead of them, or sometimes we just have a thought that, they may be farther along than we are, but we may have a thought that's helpful to them or helpful to them at the time. We can't always, we have to be reminded of good things. There's like, I forgot, that, you're right. That is true. Sometimes we forget things, and it's helpful to be reminded of them. And anybody who's working on having good thoughts and sharing good thoughts, I think can lead others.
Absolutely. I completely concur with that. So what would you say you're most grateful for in your life?
I'm it's going to kind of sound silly, but sometimes it's basic. I'm grateful to be alive and to be healthy and to have made it this far. Things, we have challenges in life, and as I look back on my life, there's things that happened, when I was a kid and the way I interpreted them. And if I had have continued with those thoughts that, we all have the bad thoughts. And if I had to continue to dwell on those thoughts and not found ways to deal in a good manner with those, there's no telling where I would be, or, would I even made it this far. So I'm helpful. It sounds silly, but I'm thankful to be functioning and have my health right now, and just be moving forward on things and be engaged in things.
No, I don't think that sounds silly at all. I wake up every morning and I do my gratitude moment. And what I'm grateful for is life, my health, my ability to see, hear, walk, talk, stand, breathe, and have sound mind.
I love it. Yeah.
Because I realize that no matter what proposal I may be sending or new contract I'm looking to get, if I don't have those things, none of that really matters.
Yeah.
So I join you in being grateful for. I believe if you're grateful for the little things, you'll definitely be appreciative of the big things in your life.
Yeah, I love the way you focus on, the being grateful aspect, because some of these things, they seem like just basic things, but it's so good to be able to have some things going well like that, and to be, making progress, and to have overcome some of the things that have come against us in the past.
Absolutely. A friend of mine, or I should say more of a client of mine, told me her fiance woke up one day and couldn't hear in his left ear. Hmm. And his right hearing began to deteriorate over time as well. And doctors couldn't figure out what's wrong with him. He was perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, taking those things for granted, I think a lot of us do, but I'm just grateful. And that's why I like to ask that question, because to me, I think if a person has a grateful spirit, they're a great connection, a great person to actually begin a conversation with.
That's a good thought. I like it.
So what is the mission of Achieve Business Advisory?
Yeah, so we help business owners make breakthroughs in their business and take it to the next level. So a lot of times it's profitability and improving the profits in their business, but sometimes it's things like helping the business to work smoothly and increasing their personal sanity. It's not easy being a business owner. Business owners carry a lot on their shoulders. And so sometimes it's hard. There's so much going on and so many balls in the air. It's hard to know what to focus on. And so we help business owners create a longer term, or long nowadays is not all that long, maybe 3 years or something, but we help them see what their long-term aspirations are. And we start with the aspirations for their life, not necessarily their business, because all business owners, they got into business for a reason. And it wasn't to have a business that makes them have to work 12 hours a day and be stressed out and fatigued and feel frustrated like they're not making progress. Those are not the reasons. And so I want to start with the reasons and what you're trying to achieve with your life. And then we look at things that are, working well and things that are not working as well. We help business owners come up with the best opportunities. And we look at the business holistically to try to discover, out of all the different areas of the business, which things can we improve that are going to help you get to your goals in the fastest and most efficient way possible.
Excellent. I like that approach, because you're absolutely right. It's bigger than just your business, but as you say, incorporate what your goals are in life and helping them begin to put that in that perspective. I think that's a whole different way of looking at your business, because most people look short term or only on just how my business fits into my life. So I think that's very important that you do that. Now, our next question is, in doing my research on your website and your profile, I wanted to bring out and have you kind of expand upon this a little bit more. So what is your profit-centric approach to increasing revenue?
Right. This is a little bit counterintuitive. I mean, we do, I'm a profitability coach. It's somewhat of a business coach, but it's also a profitability coach, which is a little different. I'm not just helping business owners grow, but I'm helping them be profitable. Because we run into situations where, and we run into this in our personal life too. It's like, wow, maybe last month I made a lot of money, or maybe I got a raise and everything. It's like, well, why does it not seem like I got a raise? Why does it seem like, I don't have money left over? And businesses can be the same way. We may get more sales, but it doesn't necessarily translate into more profit. And we all want our businesses to be profitable, because a profitable business is a much happier business and has the opportunity to meet the employees' needs better and provide fun things and training and things that are going to serve the customer better. Maybe we need to purchase something that's going to make it a better experience for the customer. And so profits allow us to do all of these things and allow us to reinvest. So the thing that's counterintuitive about it is, I like to use the example of, when we try to get people to love us or to like us, if we're always focusing on ourself, or maybe thinking of ourselves, or thinking, what can that person do for me? It doesn't usually work out very well. And we wind up being frustrated because we're kind of trying to manipulate people and putting expectations on them. It's kind of similar in business. In order to get profits and to get maximize profitability or the best profits, what we need to do is focus on how we can give and how we can serve. So we want to build a business that serves the customer, as our primary person, because that's why we're there, is to serve our customers. Then we want to find a way to do it in the most efficient way possible. And this allows us to pull through the profits. The profits are kind of the end product. I kind of like to think of it as a happy face or a sad face. And if we think of it, we had a good month last month, and we made money. We were profitable. That's great. And that's what we want to see. That's the end product of doing all of the processes of the business correctly, or in the best way that we can, or in the way that's most meaningful to the customer. So if we start with the customer and continually look for ways to improve our business, improve our customer service, and serve our customer better, then we're going to come out with a better end product. But we have to do all the operational things right. So we look at our sales and marketing process. We look at our operational process. We look at our customer service process. We look at our financial process and find the best opportunities to improve the business and to improve the overall experience for the customers. And when we do all those things, when we look at all those things and how we can make them to work best and work in the smoothest way possible that achieves happiness for the customer, then we're in the best position to wind up with a business that's profitable. So it's a little bit counterintuitive.
Well, no, I really love your thought process with that, because you clearly understand that profit is really generated by value creation.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Get away from the agenda and trying to manipulate someone in sales, but be more concerned about how can I serve?
Yes.
How can I add value? And I think as you approach it in that context, that's a little more challenging for folks who may not necessarily been on that kind of thinking before. But for the person who's receiving it, now you're solving their problem, you're creating value for them. And that's the kind of businesses I look to do business with, those businesses who really look to understand what my needs are, and then they want to create value and not just send me a bill every month, and I'm sitting there looking at whether or not I hate paying that person because I didn't get any value.
Yeah.
It just creates animosity within that whole relationship. So thank you for explaining it in that context.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love what you're saying there. And, that's not really happy for anybody. I mean, most business owners, anybody who's ethical, they're not going to be happy either if they knew that their customer wasn't happy or didn't feel like the value's there. And so that, when we are in that situation, I think it's a great opportunity to have a conversation. Why is the value not there? That can be an opportunity for open communication. It's like, well, it's because you did this or you didn't do this, and I'm frustrated because of that. And that, if there's a breakdown in the value, that's a great conversation, not only potentially for the customer, but also for the business owner, because one of the most valuable things that I think a customer can give us is the feedback. And although it's no fun to get spanked, if a customer gives us some negative feedback, I feel like it's a great thing to do to always consider that, because you'll have detractors all the time. Periodically you'll have people who just, for whatever reason, aren't going to be nice because they're just grumpy or something. But for the most part, I think customer feedback can be used as an opportunity to help us do better. And I kind of think of it, if we can cringe and read it or think through it, this is a gift of the customer giving us a hint for what can serve their needs better. And it could even be, maybe you've got a new product that can come out of that, or some way to add value because somebody said, I wasn't happy because they didn't do this. Well, how much would it cost if we did do that? Is that something that we can offer in the future? Is that something everybody wants? Or maybe we need to customize. Maybe that one customer, we need to, personalize that and make sure that before that customer comes in, or before we do business with that customer every time, we've got it in our logs. Oh, always do this with them. They value this. Mm-hmm. And so that's that customer feedback, even if it's not always positive, can be a great thing. And I think businesses can get great value out of that.
Absolutely. I concur. I'm a system engineer by training, and I'm a very data-driven person with my connections that I build and all my thought processes. So getting that feedback, as you say, is that valuable data that's needed and necessary.
Yeah, yeah, love it.
Absolutely. My next question would be, and I saw this, and I like the term, and from an intellectual context, I understand the definition, but I wanted you to expand on it more because I think it's really a powerful thing to be. I know small businesses need this.
Okay.
But what is a fractional CFO? And
Right.
what does it do for small micro businesses? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My apologies for interrupting there. Yeah. So, fractional, a chief financial officer is a role within, as a company gets bigger, they have, they'll get to a point where they have to have a chief financial officer, which is kind of the person that's from a financial perspective, kind of in charge. That's their domain for being responsible for the overall financial success of the business. So, like the marketing person would be in charge of the marketing. The operational person would be in charge of the operations. We also need someone that, once we get bigger, is kind of designated to help us with the financial and the profitability standpoint. So that's kind of what a CFO does. Now, one of the things that I do is offer this to businesses that can't afford a full-time person to do that, or honestly don't need a person to do that full-time. Most businesses can benefit from some type of assistance that helps them, in particular, focusing on the financial perspective. And of course, keeping in mind, like we talked about, the financial perspective is really looking at the business holistically and trying to think, where can the business do better, and where are the holes that we can fix that make us perform better. So sometimes we're doing the tax part. Some people need their taxes done. Some people need accounting and bookkeeping done. But the real thing that the chief financial officer needs to do is help to work on the overall profitability of the company, and working with the business owner to make sure that the company is profitable, or to lead in the best way that we can to help find the most profitability. And this is profitability we're talking about, yes, in financial terms. There's also some intangibles out there that at least I'm shooting for when I talk about business coaching or even the CFO offering. It's to try to have the impact and achieve the lifestyle that the business owner wants to have. Now, there's different things that we value in our lives. And one of my things is I want to find out what they are for the business owner, but it could be, they want to spend more time with their kids, or their parent is aging and they want to spend more time taking care of their parent, or maybe they're kind of farther along in their business and they want to be able to transition it in a smooth manner so that it will last into the future. Or maybe their business is doing okay from a profitability standpoint, but they want to figure out how to make sure it's operating at optimal performance, and that they're doing the very best that they can be. So it's kind of a diagnostic. Let's make sure we're doing as good as we can be. So all these things can be kind of within the chief financial officer realm, even though it's focusing more on financial, but there's a lot of different aspects out of it that involve financial, and that financial allows us to be able to do. But getting it back to a nutshell, we help from a financial standpoint, we help the business owners to make breakthroughs in their profitability, and in turn in the lifestyle that they're trying to achieve and the impact that they're wanting to have, whether it's in their personal life or also in the community.
Excellent. Your approach definitely resonates with me quite a bit, because I'm a part of this conscious capitalism movement, and what you're advocating is directly aligned with our values and the way we do business. So I'm curious to know, what was it that inspired you to kind of put that more of a spiritual, empathetic, emotional intelligence type of context around the way you do your business?
That's a great question, because you don't always see it. I've been fortunate from a business standpoint to be involved not only with my own and other small businesses through the years, but also with a couple of larger companies that are industry leading service providers. So they've had the opportunity to spend the millions of dollars that it takes to get all the systems and all the processes that are going to help them to serve the customer in a great way. But their focus, they were industry leaders in the customer service aspect. So customer service and approaching things from a customer-centric standpoint has been something that has always been important to me. And, we all love the phrase, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's kind of a basic business principle. And if we can take that seriously, we can go a long way in our business. I think another thing from an empathy standpoint is just, growing up, I had a lot of challenges and things, some of them were things that happened to me, but then also some of the negative thoughts that came out of that. Having to really think through those things and reorient or rethink my thinking so that it's in a positive manner. And those things, I think, also help us as business owners to be able to be empathetic to what the customer's situation is and what the customer's need is. There's a lot of stress and a lot of frustration in the world right now. People are busy. They've got a lot of challenges. They've got a lot on their plate. And anything that we can do to make things more relaxing, more secure, more happy, more enjoyable, those are all the kind of things that I think we need to focus on and we need to try to make happen. And so as business owners in the business that we have, or even if you're looking to expand or try something new, those are things that I think, we can focus on how we can make those things better. The other side of that coin is, we can look at what frustrates people. Where are they stuck? Where are they frustrated? What's not going well in life with them, and how can we serve to help them to work through those type of things?
Absolutely. I completely concur with that. So what one decision have you made that has been the most significant or rewarding in your life?
There's a couple. I mean, when I was really frustrated, in my high school years, I turned to God and just said, God, I'm frustrated. I'm not getting where I want in life, and I've got a lot of inner turmoil. And can you help me with this? Can you help me with this frustration? So I think that was helpful. Another thing is just the decision to, I'm going to call it, grow or improve or change my thinking. The study of and the consistency in trying to make things better. And I mean, I said my life purpose is to initiate positive change, but we have to go out and find change and study and be receptive to what change may be needed, and look for the answers and go find the answers, as opposed to just always taking the status quo. And it's a fight that we have to stand up and take in the world to improve our own lives, to not always accept the status quo, to not always accept the negative thinking, to consciously challenge it and push back against it. And also, be thinking of ways, how can we use the things that we've learned to help other people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as a system engineer and as a connector, I'm a person that I have a methodology and a process for how I go about finding individuals who I want to connect with, who I have principles aligned with, purposes that we resonate with each other. And I have key characteristics that I look for. So I'm always curious to know if others have similar type of thinking, not necessarily exact, but just a process for how, or even define characteristics. So with that being said, do you have key characteristics that you look for when you're establishing a new connection with someone?
Absolutely. There's a couple of things. I mean, as far as inspiring me, people who are trying to make improvement, people who are sharing thoughts, kind of like you're talking about on the thought leaders, I like to try to connect with thought leaders. From a business standpoint, I look for customers that I want to do business with, not that are perfect, and I'm not perfect either. it won't be a perfect experience. We're going to work through it together. We're going to look at these challenges, and they're going to be difficult, because I know you wouldn't be stuck if they weren't difficult. And so we're going to talk through it, and we're going to work through it together. But I'm looking for potential people who are improvement minded and quality minded and ethical. So, they want to do a good job for people. They want to serve people in a good way. They want to improve things as opposed to just accept the status quo. And so those are kind of characteristics in people that, I like to be around to the extent that I can, but then also in customers that I look for, that I want to help. We can, that old phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I want to help people to find the water, but then also I want them to be willing to drink. And sometimes they need encouragement. Sometimes they're afraid to drink. Sometimes they don't see the benefit of drinking. But, I want to work with them. And I also want people who can help me to move forward also, because, there's places where I need to be led to the water, and there's places where I'm scared to drink. And so, I want people who can inspire me, and then I'm hoping also that I can be inspiring other people.
Absolutely. And you kind of answered my next question somewhat in that previous answer, but I just want to see if I can have you, maybe there's some more you might want to add to it.
Sure.
Because as a connecting company, I always look to connect individuals with the right, whether clients or strategic business partners or what have you. So what would be a good connection for you, or who would be a good connection for you?
Well, from a practical standpoint, business owners or people who are wanting to get into business, people who have somewhat of an established business. Doesn't have to be a perfect business. There's a couple of different areas that we serve, and sometimes it's business startup, where we're helping them get registered, with the IRS and the state, and helping them get their start, and helping them get the basic building blocks of their business, and then just to grow with them and help them to know the next step and identify the next step. The other aspect of it is for the bigger, more established businesses. That's where the quality improvement and the continuous improvement comes in, and help it working with the business owner in the business. It's already up and running and everything, but wants to be better, or has, some areas that still aren't performing quite up to the place that they'd like. And so anyone like that is a good, connection for me. And hopefully in some cases I can be learning from them, and in some cases I can actually be helping them to take it to the next level. So those are some good connections for me. And I like to be learning. This is, what is a good connection? Another thing that this is a whole different type of direction with it, but the other thing that I want to see is people who, or I'd like to learn more about. It's interesting to meet them and talk to them. And sometimes business owners actually have a product that's like this, but anybody who is working or building I think it's called a disruptive technology, a type of technology or a new breakthrough in business or service that takes things to a whole new level in giving people capabilities to do things, or improves humanity through the thing that it allows people to do that they couldn't do before. And so what are some examples like that? Okay, so 1876, is that when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone? So, okay, Alexander Graham Bell, what was the process? How did you even think of this? How did you dream this up? And did people laugh at you? And who helped you? And what were the roadblocks in that process? Because whatever they went through, whatever challenges they went through, can you imagine? Now I can call my mother, who lives 2 hours away. I can pick up the phone and just call her. That's amazing. And there's people in your audience that have visions for great things. And granted, they may not all be home runs like, the transformation of inventing the telephone, but they are things that are very innovative and new. And the other thing is, some things are not new. Some things are things that just aren't being done for a particular audience. So maybe there's some audience out there And it's a person that it occurs to them, I see these people, they've got this issue and nobody is helping them with this. And so that's a business idea, or it may just be a help idea. It may start out with a helping idea and be a business idea later. But people who have that kind of thinking, I like to connect with anybody that sounds kind of unique, kind of interesting, or a business owner that's trying to get traction, or maybe is having great traction.
Okay, good answer. I definitely have those individuals in my network, and I definitely make those connections. Absolutely. So, of all the things you've accomplished in your life, what would you say that has been the most rewarding?
That's kind of a timely question. And I don't know if I've talked about this with anybody, but we're coming right up on our 25th anniversary, my wife and I. So I consider that to be an accomplishment. And yeah, from a personal standpoint, that's exciting for me. And from a business standpoint, I think that the thing that, as I look back on my career so far, the characteristic of being able to help businesses improve, and pretty much any jobs that I've been in or businesses that I've been working in, I've looked for ways that I can help improve the processes, or help make the people's jobs easier or more effective, or reduce the risk. So those are some of the achievements, is just kind of that throughout my career. And philosophically, I like to look at helping people as kind of like being an offense and a defense. We want to build a strong offense and a strong defense. So from an offensive standpoint, we want a business that works well. We want a business that's growing. We want a business that's affecting new people and affecting them in a positive manner. From a defensive standpoint, we want to make sure that our business is not vulnerable to, or isn't as vulnerable to, all of the negative things that can happen. So, we want to make sure we've been registered for the things that we're supposed to register for. We want to make sure, we've done our taxes and paid it correctly. We want to make sure that we've got maybe the insurance that we need. We want to make sure that all of our processes are looking to protect and help our customers. And if there's any risk out there for anything that's going to hurt our customers, or anything in our process that's likely to frustrate them or make them go backwards, we want to come and create procedures that are going to protect against that downside. Because a negative customer comment, although it can help us to improve, it's a negative thing that it happens. So we want to protect. We want to be defensive in getting procedures in place that are going to protect that from happening.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely a very viable need. I think that's something that's definitely be helpful, especially in the businesses that I have worked with and in my experience in business. So absolutely. One other thing that I wanted to add to that is, and this kind of brings up my next question. In order to be a company that's focused on creating value and understand that you have to provide service, I realized that it's all about the right mindset. And looking up and making sure that your mindset is positive, because you can't go into these businesses with the intent of helping and serving, and then you're feeling negative. So my question for you would be, what do you do in the morning? Do you have any rituals that you go through that kind of keeps you in that positive state of mind?
Yes. Okay. So a couple of different things, and they're kind of throughout the day. I mean, I do try to stay healthy and get some exercise. I don't do it perfectly, but I would say probably at least 3 days a week I hit that. So that's a positive thing. I think another thing is continually looking at my self-talk, and that starts first thing in the morning. So I've got to get up and tell myself it's going to be a positive day. It's going to be a good day. I'm going to make it through the challenges. And basically this is not a what's the word, well, it's not going to be a bad day. This is going to be a good day. And so just starting with a positive focus can be a very big thing. Keeping some exercise out there. One of the things my mom taught me that I appreciated was journaling, but I've journaled for a long time. I don't get real crazy on it and write a bunch of stuff, but every day, just one or two little bullets of here's something positive that happened today. If you can think at the end of every day, write down at least one positive thing, or in the morning, write down here's one thing I want to accomplish, and then at the end of the day, here's one thing I accomplished. It may not be the same thing I set out to do, but even if it's not, I'm going to shake it off. I'm going to put down something that did happen, something maybe some small step that I took to move it forward. So the positivity in the journaling and the exercise and the focusing first thing in the day on positive thoughts, I think are all helpful.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
And my last two questions, at least some of my favorite questions of the interview, mainly because of the fact that these are the two that I learned the most from when I get these conversations, or I get from these conversations. I'm sorry. That is there a king connection that you would like to meet? And what I mean by king connection, I'm not referring to my name or my company name. As an individual that I came up with the term because it's someone who's achieved such a level of success, whether it be financial, social capital, but it's someone who you admire. And you know that if you were to work with them in a co-creative effort, that you can do some great things with this individual. So it's not coming at them as a fan where you hear and they're here. It's more of how can I help them solve a problem they're dealing with. And the reason I ask that question is because I believe I come up with a methodology and a process for getting to these individuals. Like for me, a king connection for me would be Magic Johnson. Not because he's a celebrity basketball player, but because he's a brilliant businessman. He's someone who's about the community. He believes in giving of his time. He's been very helpful to a lot of people, influential in those individuals. And I believe him and I can do some great things together. So who would be a connection that you would have in your mind?
Yeah. So there's an author who's had some good books, Donald Miller, and he's very customer centric and helps with simplicity in your messaging. And I always think that is kind of a magic thing, is if I can simplify something and make it where it's very understandable, that's very valuable. And so that's one person that I'd love to just spend some time with him, helping me simplify in my thinking and helping me be more concise and helping me to connect, to say things in such a way that it connects emotionally and that it gets to what inspires people and what people's needs are for relief. Like, what sentence could I say that would reach out to you and would say, oh yeah, man, it would be so great if I could solve that problem. Or, oh yeah, that is so true. That thought is so encouraging. And just something simple enough that it can be really understood well.
That's a great choice. I'm actually a big fan of Donald Miller as well. So yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And so my last question would be, is there a book that you would like to recommend to our listening audience that either has influenced you in your life, or you just may say that this is something that's influencing me right now as I read it? So what book would that be, or books that you would like to recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love to read like the Proverbs in the Bible, that you're just kind of nuggets for wisdom in life. That's one thing. And then, the other thing, as far as books, he's kind of a funny guy, but he's a sales trainer. And I'm trying to remember his name. I'm going to choke and forget his name. He's got the little red book of selling. Jeff Gitomer. That's it. Sorry. Slipped my mind there. Yeah. Jeff Gitomer. He came and did a seminar in Oklahoma City where I'm at quite some time ago. And I really thought he connected. He's just got some books that are simple and fun. Kind of, he's a sales trainer, so his themes kind of a lot of times evolve around sales. But a big part of sales is meeting the customer needs and helping people to see how you can help them. And so he's got some books that I think are really good. And I think one of them's called The Little Red Book of Selling, or maybe it's The Little Yellow Book of Selling, but they're kind of fun colored books. So that's one that people might check out and people might enjoy.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. And as we get to wrap up our interview, our podcast today, I want to give you an opportunity. You want to share any words of wisdom that you want to share with our listening audience, as well as your contact information, so how they can contact you to get more information from you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I think work on believing in yourself, work on positive thoughts, work on identifying negative thoughts. When you're catch yourself when you're comparing yourself to somebody else and saying, I'm not as good. Watch out for words like I can't, I won't, it can't work, I'm not having success. Watch out for those negative words and turn them into how can I improve? Those are usually subjective thoughts that are not necessarily true. And so catch yourself with the negative thoughts and turn those around and make them positive, because the truth is this thing's not over yet. You can make positive changes. You can turn things around. You can reach out. You can get help. One thought can change your life. One thought can change your business. Sometimes one action can change your business. And so there's things that are out there. And just because it's not where you want everything to be right now, it doesn't mean that this is a permanent thing. And so watch out for those words that are sabotaging you or throwing you off the negative thinking precipice, and turn those around and think, how can I think positively? What positive steps can I take? Who can I reach out to? And I think you can make improvement, and I think there is hope, and I think you can make it. But catch yourself when the negative voices are coming at you, and counteract them and fight them and fend them off and get the positive thoughts out there. So that's something. As far as contacting me, my website is achievebusinessadvisory.com. And people can go there. I'd love to have you visit there. And there's a contact form there. And there's also a place where if you'd like to have a call, you can schedule a call on there. I'd love to have you introduce yourself and find out a little bit about you and your business and what you're trying to achieve. Those are free calls. I don't charge for, just kind of getting to know each other. And so I'd love to hear from people there. I'm also on LinkedIn. It's Keith Steincamp, KeithSteincamp. So if people want to reach out there, I'd love to connect there. And man, I'm just I'm thankful to have been on your show and to have visited with you, King. You're doing great things. I love the positive energy that you have, and I love what you're doing to reach out and help people and encourage people. I love your attitude of gratitude is amazing and contagious. So I love that.
Well, thank you, Keith. I appreciate those kind words. And again, I definitely appreciate your investment of time and sharing some very insightful, informative steps or information that our listening audience can actually definitely improve their business and their lives.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been fun.
And for listening audience, thank you all for again tuning in to the King Connections podcast. Until next time, I wish everybody a blessed and productive remaining part of their day.